Hey there, Houston. I'm KHOU 11 meteorologist Kim Castro. We made it to Friday. I'm going to get you all set up for the weekend. We got a couple of changes to track, and I'm going to give you a look at the tropics because we've got something to talk about in the Atlantic Basin. Okay, for your Friday, we are starting to see a couple storms building in. From now until about 4 o'clock, that's when they start to peak. And then your Friday night plans, they look just fine. Saturday, most of your plans look good, so that's a nice day for you to have something planned outdoors. We have a chance, though, for a couple of lone scattered storms right at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we once again taper things for Saturday night plans. Sunday, that's going to be a day that you want to keep radar in mind because I think shower activity starts off a little earlier. So you do have Sunday brunch plans anytime after 11 o'clock. That's when I think the storms are going to start to build in. They'll last until about 5 o'clock in the evening and then they'll start to drop off again. Let's check in on radar right now. So I am starting to see some storms building in from the Gulf Coast with that sea breeze, daytime heating. This is a typical pattern that we see during the summer. It gets hot, it gets humid, and then in the afternoon when the sea breeze pushes in, we see a couple of flare-ups. We're seeing one right now in Bonnie. There's a little lone shower there in Richmond, and some more activity on the northeast side of Beltway 8. So north of Cloverleaf, and it looks like it's lifting northwest, so potentially getting towards IAH here in about 20 to 30 minutes. Roman Forest has seen a little bit of lightning, but that cell's starting to fizzle out. So what's the rain chance today? 40%. For context, yesterday we're at 50, so I think it's a little less than what we saw yesterday, and the temperature is going to be pretty toasty. So I think we make it up to a high of 94 degrees. Then we shave off about half of that. For your Saturday, rain chance is only at 20%, the high 93, and staying warm on Sunday, but with some more showers moving in, I think, and especially because they're earlier on in the day, I think we scale back the temperatures just a little bit to 91. Let's talk about this weekend because Saturday is a good day for you to be going to Beyonce. Honestly, any day is a good day for you to be going to Beyonce. How awesome is that? Concert starts at 7 o'clock. At that point, our temperature is at 87 degrees. With the humidity, though, it does feel like it's 95. And the good thing is, again, the isolated storm chance is going to happen in the afternoon, I think before you head to the concert. And so you don't have to worry about ruining that beautiful outfit that you have been planning for I don't know how long. So that's nice. Pride Parade is also going on Saturday. It starts at 7, so it is warm. But for context, last year, right around this time, it was in the 90s. So it is going to be a little less hot at this Pride Parade, so that'll be good. Still, though, carry your water canteen with you. Stay hydrated as you go and enjoy that. But tomorrow is a nice day because those rain chances are going to be pretty sporadic. Notice Sunday, the coverage starts to increase, and we still have a rain chance even into Monday. Next week, our pattern does start to shift, and I'll show you why here in a sec. But first, I want to take a little breather, take a live look outside. If you're just joining us, happy Friday. Here's a view from our studios in the Galleria, Westheimer and Chimney Rock. You can see downtown there, and you can see some of these clouds starting to build on themselves. Herman Park, seeing a nice shot of some blue sky mixed in with the clouds. It's already 91 degrees there. In Galveston, it's 89 degrees and some towering clouds starting to develop. Here's a closer look at that. Moody Gardens. Let's check in on the temperature at Bush. So right now it's 91 at Bush Intercontinental Airport. That is a 6-degree jump from yesterday. So it is hotter outside, and it already feels like we're close to the century mark. Feels like 99 degrees. So whatever you have penciled in for your Friday, factor that heat in there. So reservations, you might want to make them inside. or hopefully there's some sprinkler systems if you're looking to get a dinner or lunch reservation outside. Let's have another look at radar here. So I'm going to keep a close eye on the Memorial area, the Galleria area. Westheimer got hit really hard yesterday, and it doesn't take a ton of accumulation. In fact, it just takes a really strong rainfall rate, like what we saw yesterday, to dump down an amount of rainfall that's hard for our drainage systems to soak up. And that's what leads to the high water spots, and that's what leads to localized street flooding. So for that reason, I'm going to keep an eye on the intensity of these storms, even though, they're not everywhere and they're not that, impressive. If one stays parked there over a prolonged period of time, that's when we start to have issues. So when I see the deeper reds like that, for example, pushing just east of East Houston towards Beaumont Place, that's when we could start to see some issues if they don't move. So yesterday's rain was anywhere between 1, 2 to 3 inches. But again, it is really just how quickly it came down that was the problem, not so much the rainfall totals. And I say this from experience because I was just trying to go half a mile home, and that water rose so quickly that you just had to wait it out. And that is the only thing to do. When you see standing water, you have no idea how deep it is. Especially here in Houston, we get dips in the roads, at intersections, there's divots, and you just really don't know how deep that water is, especially if you have a low-lying vehicle, like a 4-door. If you don't have a truck, even in a truck, you have no idea how deep that water is. So best practice is to just wait it out, which is what I did. Turned on a podcast, waited until the water receded, got home no problem. So that's what we have to do when we have the potential for a couple of these downpours, which we do again this afternoon. A lot of you yesterday were like, what rain? What are you talking about? Because it was pretty spotty yesterday in the outskirts. However, inside the loop, especially the Galleria, Westheimer, our northern cities, that was a little bit more of a shock because of the rainfall rate. And notice there could be another bullseye rain potential for today. So be vigilant, check radar, have the KHOU app downloaded, check our social media sites. If we start to see a rainfall rate that's a little bit excessive, we will make sure to update you about it. But here's a look at future tracks. I want to show you how these storms are going to progress. So they continue until about 5:30, and then we're quiet for the rest of your Friday evening plans. Saturday, there's your spotty shower, 4 or 5 o'clock, but it just fizzles from there. And then Sunday is the day that you'll notice there's more energy in the atmosphere. There's actually a disturbance that's going to be scooting along our upper Texas coastline. And that's why we've got a higher chance to see some storms for a couple of hours. So at least from, I'd say, 11 to 5 o'clock. Then I want to widen the shot of future track because we're not just looking at showers pushing in from the sea breeze. We're also tracking the potential of a little area that could gain rotations, a cluster of storms that's going to pass through the Bay of Campeche as we go into this weekend and maybe get enough organization to become the second named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season. Now, it would rain itself out as it goes through Mexico, but still something to monitor. It's a 20% chance right now that the National Hurricane Center has on this area for becoming a zone of organization. And then as we go into next week, we not only talk heat and humidity, we talk dust. There is this plume of Saharan dust that is going to travel all the way to Houston, and it's going to stay right on top of us for a number of days. What is this going to do? A number of things. First and foremost, it is going to bring us that hazy skyline. Secondly, it could potentially start seeping down some of that particulate matter, which could be an irritant for you. So not just allergies next week, but potentially watching the air quality as well. And then it's also going to drop our rain chances. So dusty air is dry air. And the longer it sits over us, the more it is going to penetrate the layers of the atmosphere and continue to remove the moisture. So while we've got those rain chances in the forecast for this weekend, next week's a completely different story. So a 40% chance for scattered storms today. Remember, tomorrow I think it's more of an isolated rain chance. We're back up to some decent coverage for rain on your Sunday. And then Monday, isolated showers continue. Notice through the weekend, The rain chances bring us a little rain cooled air, so it'll be in the low 90s. Next week, without the rain chances or with very little rain potential, we're going to start to see those temperatures climb. So next week looks sunny, hazy, dusty with highs in the mid to upper 90s. And of course, that heat index is going to be well into the triple digits next week. So that is going to be a week that we talk a lot about hydration and potentially limiting the amount of time we spend outside if we do start to see some of that dust settle down at the surface level. Of course, I'll keep an eye on all of that. And if I do see air quality becoming an issue, I'll make sure to warn you about it. But for now, have a happy Friday, have an amazing weekend, and enjoy all your outdoor activities Saturday.